Hi everyone, today I will be going through my process and some tips to achieve a more vibrant and interesting skin painting. Let's just get right into it. Before we start painting, let's go over my favorite tip. And this is a recent feature added to Clip Studio Paint since 2.0, which is perceptual color mixing. Have you found that a lot of your painting came out dull and muddy and you have no idea why? If you try to mix colors in most digital drawing programs, you will notice that color mixes differently compared to, say, mixing colors, paints on a palette. Yellow and blue doesn't really make a true green like it should. But with perceptual color mixing turned on, you can see that the mixing result is more vibrant in chroma, therefore closer to what it would have been in real life. It is subtle in color, closer in hue ranges, but it will still bring out the colors a bit better. If you have Clip Studio Paint version 2.0 and onwards, you can find it by clicking on this wrench icon. It should open up a pop screen, then go to Ink, and then click on Mixing Mode. Click on Perceptual. You can set this mixing mode on any of your brushes. But if you don't have this version of the software, you can still replicate the effect by adding a color of higher saturation in between the two colors you are mixing. This effect looks especially great for skin on the borders of light, mimicking a stylized subsurface scattering effect, like so. Let's get into painting. What I like to do first is a method called underpainting. This method is commonly used in traditional art, where artists would put a layer of color before they start painting. This color can be any color. Most skin tones will work with a warm color underpainting, like a warm beige or orange, but your color of choice could also be determined by the setting of your character or overall vibe which you want to go for. Example, a pink underpainting would go great for a Valentine themed illustration, or a blue underpainting for a character that's set in a mostly blue environment. On top of the underpainting, I would do my hue variation. You probably have heard of the classic treat tone for the face trick. This is more prevalent in lighter skin tones, but darker skin will also benefit from the hue variety. The simplest version is a yellowish tone for the forehead area due to the lack of surface capillaries, warm reddish tones for the central area of the face due to more surface capillaries, and a colder tone for the jaw area. This can be further refined as the yellow tones go down to the nose bridge. The cold tones you can put also on the brow bone and under the eyes for a sunken effect, and the reddish tones around the lips. Right now it's looking a bit wild, but what you do next is you make a new layer on lower opacity. I sometimes range between 50 to 70% depending on how it looks, and paint over the underpainting with the skin tone color, preferably a mid-tone. What that does is making all of the colors and hues into a more cohesive color palette. And also it makes the hue variation a bit more subtle. Adjust the layers as needed with Clip Studio's color adjustment sliders, like saturation and contrast, because you might not like it on the first try. From that on, it's just rendering the face while being sure to keep that hue variation visible. I'm coloring a warm skin tone here, so I'm using some colder tones for the shadows. I like using a brush with harder edges to carve up deep shadows before blending it out with a soft brush. Then with Fill Lasso tool, I like to add some last bits of hard highlights on points like the nose, lips, cheekbones, and eyes. It's generally the higher points of the face or areas that might be moist or wet. But don't overdo this step because you still want your skin to look like skin and plastic. Now let's try an opposite underpainting with a blue underpainting this time. Darker skin tones in general reflect environment colors way more than lighter skin does, so you can have fun and experiment more with bounce light and hue variations. Let's go with a cold highlight and warm shadows this time. My first pass at the layer adjustments was a bit too desaturated for my taste, so I adjusted the saturation levels before I started painting. These are just very basic, non-direct light scenarios that I'm painting, but you can definitely push the values even more with different lighting scenarios. Add some highlights and you're done. You can see the hue variation achieved in these two experiments just from doing these simple steps, which will make your skin painting more human and less monotone. Don't be afraid to show some imperfections and brush strokes in your skin. And have fun! Happy painting!